Now, we will come to the dependent or subordinate clauses. Read the following sentence. Nihal drives to work early so that he can avoid the last minute rush. Now, Nihal drives to work early. This is clause A. Why? Because it has one finite verb, one subject, simple clause, simple sentence, makes complete sense. So this is clause A. But why is this clause B? Let's quickly read. The above sentence is made of two clauses. Clause A and clause B. Clause A conveys the primary meaning. It provides information that is complete in itself. Clause A, Nihal drives to work early. This kind of information is the primary information and it is complete on its own, right? Clause B, on the other hand, gives additional information. Clause B, so that he can avoid the last minute rush, is providing the additional information. As clause A makes complete sense by itself and can stand alone as a sentence, it is the independent clause in the sentence. This we all understand. Clause A is an independent clause. However, clause B depends on clause A to complete its meaning. Since it cannot be used on its own, it is known as a dependent clause. Clause B, so that he can avoid the last minute rush. Clause B is dependent on clause A. Clause B is the additional information of clause A, right? So clause B, since it is dependent on clause A to complete the sentence, this is a dependent clause. Understood? I'll give you some more examples of dependent clause. Mehak, I'll give you the same example what we read in the independent clause. Mehak eats her breakfast early. Now, this is clause A. I'll write the clause B here. As she could attend her session on time. Now, this is clause B. What is the difference? Clause A is complete. Eats is the finite verb. Mehak is the subject. So, and it is a simple sentence making complete sense. So, this is an independent clause. In clause B, as she could attend her session on time. This is an additional information of clause A to understand why Mehak eats her breakfast early. Why? So that she could attend her session on time. So clause B is giving additional information, more information about clause A. Clause B is dependent on clause A. It is not independent. It does not make complete sense. As she could attend her session on time. This sentence cannot stand on its own, right? It is dependent on clause A. So this is a dependent clause. Understood? Now, a dependent clause depends on the main clause. As we just read, the dependent clause here, it is dependent upon clause A, which is the main clause. A dependent clause depends on the main clause to make complete sense. Dependent clauses are also known as subordinate clauses, as the importance of such clauses is less than the main clauses. the importance of this sentence of clause B, as she could attend her session on time, the importance of this clause is less than the main clause. The main clause was Mehak eats her breakfast early. This is the main clause. It gives more, this sentence, this clause has more importance than clause B, right? So dependent clause has less importance than the main clause. Subordinate clauses are dominated by the main clause in a sentence. Main clause is the most important. Main clause dominates the dependent clause. Independent clause dominates the dependent clause. Now, coming to the exercise part. Exercise 1. Tick mark suitably if you think the given group of words is a phrase, clause, or a sentence, and mark the correct punctuation. Now here we have to tell whether it is a phrase, whether the sentence is a sentence, or whether it is a clause, and mark the correct punctuation. First, I am reading an interesting book. Now this is a sentence. We'll put a full stop here and we'll put a tick mark in the sentence column. Second one, through the door. What do you think it is? Through the door makes some sense but not complete sense. So this is a phrase. If we add some more words, it will be a complete sentence. But right now it is a phrase. What can I do for you? It is a question. So we'll put a question mark here and we'll make this W a capital W. So it will be, what can I do for you? It is again a sentence. Fourth, we were flying above the clouds. It is a statement. So we'll put a full stop here. We will make this W a capital W and this will become a sentence. Number 5th, what a wonderful book. This is an exclamation expression. So we'll put an exclamatory mark here and we'll make this W capital and this will be a sentence again. The rest 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 you will be doing on your own, right? Now coming to exercise number 2. Make sentences using the following phrases. The phrases are given, we have to make sentences, right? The first one is full of beautiful flowers. What sentence can we make? We can make this valley is full of beautiful flowers. Right? Next one. In good health. What can be the sentence? How can we convert this phrase into a sentence? By God's grace, I am in good health. Right? Covered with ice. The mountain peak is covered with ice. Right? So this makes a complete sentence. So we have to, what are we doing here? We are turning the phrases into sentences. Right? Fourth one, without any fear. I tried bungee jumping without any fear. Right? Next one. A few minutes later. A few minutes later, the teacher came in. Right? So these are the phrases that we have converted into sentences. Kids, I have done the first 5 for you. Rest 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 you will be doing on your own. Now, coming to exercise number 3. Complete the sentences by putting a phrase, clause or complement. We have to put either a phrase or a clause or a complement to complete these sentences. Let's do it. The first one is, we will now move on to. What can we put here? We will now move on to the next exercise. The next exercise is a phrase. So we have completed the sentence by putting a phrase. Second, as the speaker started to speak, the students started clapping. Here, the students is the subject and started is the finite verb, right? So the students started clapping is a clause, and what kind of a clause? It is a dependent clause. Independent clause. Why is it an independent clause? Because the students started clapping is a simple sentence which makes complete sense. So this is an independent clause. The watch was so expensive that everyone wanted to have it. Again, this is a clause and it is a dependent clause. Now I tell you why. Everyone wanted to have it. Does it make complete sense? No. This clause is dependent upon the main clause. The main clause is the watch was so expensive, right? So clause B, which is everyone wanted to have it, is dependent upon clause A, which is the watch was so expensive. So clause B is dependent upon clause A. That is why everyone wanted to have it is a dependent clause, right? Next one. This is the village where my ancestors lived. Again, it is a dependent clause. Why? Because my ancestors lived is an additional information about the main clause. The main clause is, this is the village where, or this is the village. So clause B, my ancestors lived, is an additional information about the main clause, the independent clause. So this, my ancestors lived, is a dependent clause. Fifth one, it was too dark and scary. Now the scary is a complement. Kids, I have done the first 5 for you. Rest 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 you will be doing on your own. I hope you have understood this exercise where we have to complete the sentences by phrases, clauses and complements. Alright kids, with this we come to the end of the chapter. I hope you have understood the phrases and the clauses, the difference between phrases and the clauses, how can we convert phrases into a complete sentence, what are the types of clauses, dependent and independent, what is a clause, how independent clause works and how a dependent clause works, right? So this is all about the chapter. I hope you have enjoyed the chapter. We will be talking about the next chapter soon again. Bye kids.